Have you ever stopped to consider why some people seem to age more rapidly than others, even when they're making what appear to be all the right choices? Despite eating well, exercising occasionally, and trying to stay healthy, many individuals still encounter persistent health issues or accelerated signs of aging. In today's video, we're diving deep into 6 quietly destructive habits that could be undermining your health and robbing you of years from your life. From obvious dangers like smoking and overeating to more subtle threats like excessive sitting and harboring a pessimistic outlook, we'll reveal the behaviors that might be silently eroding your vitality. Be sure to stay with us until the very end. There are practical, doable strategies you can begin implementing right away to counter these habits and safeguard your long-term well-being. Before we get started, a quick favor. If you find this video informative, I'd greatly appreciate it if you gave it a thumbs up. Your support helps us continue to share important lessons that make a real difference. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new video. And here's a fun way to provide feedback. If you like this video, comment with the number 1. If it didn't quite resonate with you, comment with a 0 so we can continue improving the content we deliver to you. Let's jump in. 1. Chronic stress. One of the most underestimated yet profoundly damaging health threats is chronic stress. When stress becomes a near constant companion, it triggers a chain reaction of biological disturbances that gradually wear down the body. Unlike the occasional pressure we all face, which can be motivating or even necessary, chronic stress keeps the body in a state of heightened alertness. This prolonged tension elevates blood pressure continuously, placing persistent strain on the cardiovascular system and significantly increasing the risk of conditions like hypertension. But it doesn't stop there. Chronic stress also suppresses the immune system, making the body more vulnerable to infections and illnesses. Over time, a weakened immune response compromises resilience and opens the door to long-term diseases. The link between stress and major illnesses is well documented. From heart disease and stroke to type 2 diabetes, the long-term consequences of unmanaged stress are both severe and far-reaching. The body's stress response, when stuck in overdrive, triggers chronic inflammation, disrupts metabolic function, and slowly chips away at your health from the inside out. To combat the negative toll of chronic stress, adopting effective stress management techniques is not just helpful, it's essential. Physical activity is a natural and powerful antidote, releasing endorphins that elevate mood and promote relaxation. Additionally, mindful practices such as meditation, controlled breathing, and progressive muscle relaxation have been proven to calm the mind and restore balance. Spending time in nature, whether it's a walk in the woods, tending to a garden, or just sitting in a quiet park, can also act as a healing balm for stress. These simple practices, when integrated into your daily life, can help regulate your nervous system, fortify your physical health, and dramatically improve your quality of life. 2. Binge eating. Another silent saboteur of long-term health is binge eating, characterized by consuming large amounts of food in a short time, often without genuine hunger or the ability to stop. While indulging every once in a while may seem harmless, when overeating becomes a pattern, the consequences can be severe. The human stomach is not a bottomless pit. When we routinely overfill it, treating it more like a dumping ground than an organ, we risk serious harm, including inflammation and even gastric bleeding. The constant strain of overstuffing leads to internal damage and sets the stage for a cascade of complications. Physically, the effects can be immediate and distressing. Symptoms like nausea, vomiting, dizziness, and fainting are all signs that the body is struggling to cope with food overload. But the bigger concern lies in the long-term repercussions. Binge eating can drastically impair the digestive system, increase fat accumulation, and contribute to conditions like obesity, fatty liver disease, and metabolic disorders. It diminishes quality of life and, over time, can significantly reduce lifespan. To illustrate the seriousness of this issue, consider a revealing study conducted by American researchers involving 200 monkeys. These monkeys were divided into two groups, one allowed to eat freely and the other placed on a controlled diet, consuming just 7% to 8% of their body weight. After a decade, the results were striking. Half of the monkeys in the unrestricted group died from obesity-related health issues, while only 12% in the controlled group faced similar outcomes. This stark contrast highlights a vital truth. More food does not equal more energy or better health. In fact, the opposite is true. Excess consumption leads to disease, dysfunction, and ultimately, death. The key takeaway here is the importance of moderation and mindful eating. Eating slowly, recognizing hunger cues, and honoring your body's signals can help prevent overeating. Prioritizing nutrient-dense foods over processed or calorie-laden choices and practicing portion control can preserve digestive health and overall well-being. If this resonates with you, consider leaving a comment of gratitude in the section below. 3. Lack of physical activity. Next, let's address a modern epidemic that plays a major role in premature aging and chronic illness: physical inactivity. Obesity, one of the most pressing health challenges of our time, is primarily driven by two lifestyle factors: excessive caloric intake and insufficient movement. When individuals consume more energy than they expend and fail to engage in regular physical activity, their bodies begin to store the surplus as fat. This imbalance results not only in weight gain, but also in a host of cascading health consequences. Obesity is closely tied to metabolic syndrome, a dangerous cluster of conditions that includes high blood pressure, abnormal cholesterol levels, and imbalanced blood sugar regulation. These issues arise from the body's deteriorating ability to metabolize nutrients efficiently. A sedentary lifestyle only magnifies these challenges, slowing down metabolism further and compounding the harmful effects of fat accumulation. The lack of movement also impacts cardiovascular health by impeding circulation. When blood flow is sluggish, the delivery of oxygen and nutrients throughout the body becomes inefficient, weakening organs and tissues. Muscles that are unused gradually waste away, and bones can lose density over time, increasing the risk of fractures and injury. Immune function declines, joints become stiff, and the body becomes increasingly prone to illness and injury. In today's technologically advanced society, where convenience often trumps physical effort, regular exercise becomes more crucial than ever. The modern material lifestyle, while comfortable, frequently limits natural movement. But human physiology hasn't changed. Our bodies are still designed to move. Whether it's through walking, stretching, swimming, cycling, or dancing, incorporating daily physical activity supports not just physical fitness, but also mental clarity and emotional resilience. In short, exercise is not just a way to look good, it's a necessity for living longer and living better. The fourth life-shortening habit is one that's become increasingly common, yet rarely receives the attention it deserves: the tendency to stay up late and work from dawn until well past dusk. For thousands of years, human beings lived in sync with the sun, rising with the daylight and resting when night fell. This alignment with natural light patterns was not merely a cultural practice, it was biologically encoded in our genes, playing a crucial role in preserving health and vitality. Today, however, the story has changed. The endless options for nighttime entertainment and the pressures of modern work life have drastically altered our sleep habits. More and more people stay up late into the night, often working through exhaustion or indulging in screen time that extends into the early hours of the morning. This disconnection from natural rhythms wreaks havoc on the body's internal systems. Our biological clock, also known as the circadian rhythm, is a finely tuned system that regulates countless physiological functions, from hormone secretion and digestion to immune function and mental alertness. When we stay up too late or disrupt our sleep-wake cycle, this biological harmony is thrown off balance. Over time, this misalignment leads to hormonal imbalances, compromised immunity, and slower metabolism. Moreover, when we push ourselves to work excessively without allowing for adequate rest, we drain our mental reserves and strain our physical health. Chronic overworking, especially when combined with sleep deprivation, has been linked to serious conditions such as cardiovascular disease, digestive disorders, and mood disturbances. Even more concerning, it accelerates cellular aging and weakens the body's natural ability to repair itself, shortening not just our lifespan, but the years we live in good health. The message here is simple yet powerful. Respecting your body's need for sleep is not a weakness, it's a foundation of strength. Developing a consistent sleep routine that honors the natural day-night cycle, limiting screen exposure in the evening, and creating a restful bedtime environment can all help realign your internal clock and promote healing and longevity. If you found value in this insight, please consider sharing a word of appreciation in the comments. 5. Prolonged sitting. Another pervasive yet often underestimated danger to your health is prolonged sitting. Although sitting may feel like the most natural and effortless posture, when done for hours on end, especially without interruption, it transforms from a position of comfort into a potential threat. This isn't a new discovery. As far back as ancient China, classical medical texts like the Yellow Emperor's Inner Canon warned of the dangers of excessive sitting, describing its harmful effects on the body and spirit. Physiologically, sitting for extended periods causes blood flow to stagnate, reducing the circulation of oxygen and essential nutrients to vital tissues. This leads to decreased energy, brain fog, and increased risk of chronic disease. Muscles that aren't being used begin to weaken and atrophy, particularly those in the core and lower body. Over time, this leads to poor posture, joint pain, and reduced mobility. More alarming, prolonged sitting has been linked to a range of serious health issues. Lower back problems, herniated spinal discs, obesity, constipation, and even leg swelling due to poor circulation are just a few of the consequences. But perhaps the most unsettling revelation is the potential impact on cognitive function. Recent studies suggest that a sedentary lifestyle may impair brain performance and contribute to mental fatigue and memory decline. In a recent survey, nearly 40% of people in China reported sitting for more than 8 hours a day. That's a huge portion of the population unknowingly placing their health at risk. The solution? Small, consistent changes. Incorporating frequent movement breaks, even just standing or stretching every hour, can make a significant difference. Taking short walks, using a standing desk, or practicing desk-friendly stretches can support circulation, preserve muscle tone, and protect long-term health. 6. Pessimism and a negative mindset. Among all the factors that quietly chip away at your health and shorten your lifespan, few are as underestimated or as deeply influential as pessimism. While most people understand the obvious health risks of smoking, overeating, or being sedentary, very few realize the immense power of their own thoughts and emotional patterns. The truth is, a consistently negative outlook on life doesn't just affect your mood, it manifests physically, often in surprisingly destructive ways. Every day, your brain is busy processing not just sensory information, but the stories you tell yourself, how you view the world, what you believe about your future, how you interpret stress, setbacks, and uncertainty. When those inner narratives are laced with chronic negativity, cynicism, and hopelessness, your body responds as if it's under siege. The brain perceives emotional threats in much the same way as physical ones, and it triggers a cascade of stress responses accordingly. Cortisol levels remain elevated, inflammatory markers rise, and your immune system weakens under the weight of constant internal tension. Over time, this slow, invisible process contributes to premature aging, chronic fatigue, digestive issues, cardiovascular strain, and even a reduced ability to fight off infections or recover from illness. It may sound exaggerated, but the scientific literature is growing rapidly in support of this mind-body connection. Numerous long-term studies have shown that individuals with a pessimistic explanatory style, those who tend to blame themselves for bad outcomes, expect things to go wrong, and view their future as bleak, are more likely to suffer from heart disease, weakened immunity, and early death. In contrast, those with a more optimistic mindset not only enjoy better physical health, but also demonstrate greater resilience, lower rates of depression, and even slower biological aging, as measured by telomere length. Pessimism, in its essence, is like a mental fog that clouds the body's ability to heal, adapt, and thrive. It narrows your awareness, focuses your attention on threats rather than possibilities, and gradually dims your motivation to make positive changes. When you believe that things will never get better, you're far less likely to adopt healthy habits, seek out nourishing relationships, or take proactive steps toward wellness. It's not just a mental hurdle, it becomes a physiological handicap. But the good news is that your mindset is not fixed. Just as you can train a muscle, you can train your mind to interpret life differently. Optimism is not about pretending everything is perfect. It's about learning to reframe adversity, recognize your strengths, and maintain hope, even in the face of uncertainty. One powerful method is practicing gratitude daily, taking a few minutes each day to write down or mentally acknowledge things you're thankful for. This simple habit rewires the brain to focus more on the positive, activating regions associated with pleasure, reward, and emotional regulation. Another proven technique is cognitive reappraisal, consciously choosing to reinterpret a stressful situation in a way that feels less threatening or more empowering. Instead of thinking, "I can't handle this," try, "This is challenging, but I've handled hard things before." Small shifts in language can lead to profound shifts in outlook. You might also consider limiting exposure to toxic inputs that feed negativity, whether it's endless news cycles, social media doom scrolling, or spending time with chronically cynical individuals. Surrounding yourself with hopeful, solution-oriented people can create a feedback loop that lifts your mindset and energy. And don't underestimate the value of laughter, joy, and connection. Positive emotions are not luxuries. They're necessities for physical and mental longevity. In fact, regular experiences of joy and love have been shown to strengthen the immune system, support heart health, and increase lifespan. So if you've been stuck in a pessimistic loop, know that it's not a life sentence. It's a signal that your mind needs just as much care and nourishment as your body. By choosing to feed your thoughts with hope, gratitude, and curiosity, you aren't just improving your mood, you're extending your life. As we reflect on all 6 of these habits, it becomes clear that our longevity is not determined by any single action or choice, but rather by the consistent patterns we follow over time. Smoking, overeating, inactivity, poor sleep, prolonged sitting, and a negative mindset. Each one chips away at the vitality of the body and mind, often silently and slowly. But here's the empowering truth. If these habits can shorten your life, then changing them can lengthen it. You don't need to overhaul everything at once. Even small changes, quitting 1 cigarette a day, taking a 10-minute walk, going to bed 15 minutes earlier, pausing to take 3 deep breaths, or writing down a single thing you're grateful for, can begin to shift your entire health trajectory. The body has an extraordinary capacity to heal when given the right conditions. It's never too late to break harmful patterns and replace them with supportive, life-giving ones. So if you've recognized yourself in any of these habits, don't despair. Let this be your wake-up call, not to punish yourself, but to love yourself enough to change. Health isn't about perfection, it's about direction. The goal is progress, not punishment. You're not alone on this path, and the steps forward are available to you right now. Choose to take them.